Hello and welcome to the Stampscapes lab. We are going to try a quarter page formatted reflection card using one of the Tubb-Sedillo background papers, 4¼ by 5½. So this piece right here is 5½ by 8½ right here, standard half page. You fold it in half. And then what I've done is I've taken a piece of the mirrored silver foil cardstock, and I've glued it down into the interior of this card base right here. I like to use a black, but you can use any color card base that you want. If you go with a lighter color, I would suggest before you either tape or glue this silver piece down, you put this black line in there. I use a Sharpie pen just so that when you format these two together like this, if you did it on like white, and if these two right here don't match up perfectly, you can have this white line in between there, and it's harder to get that blacked out after the fact, trying to get a pen in between these two different papers here, or whatever paper you happen to be using up here. Okay, so on these types of reflection card formats, silver works really well. It's the most kind of pure mirrored piece, but you can also use a gold in certain situations, or if you have something like a red foil, that might work out well, well as well. You want to go with a nice reflective type of foil, not like a brushed aluminum type, like a matte looking foil, which are out there, because they won't be as reflective. You can use them for other types of effects maybe, but they won't be as mirrored. Okay, so Deanna herself kind of gave me an idea of something that I felt like playing around with. And she had this moon that was really a warm tone, and there was just some trees in front of it. And then it wasn't in a reflection card format, but she did this really cool kind of reflective area down here, and it was based on some inspiration artwork that she had seen. So I thought, hey, we could, probably do that type of thing in a reflection card. I was going to do it here and put some trees just right in front of here, but I thought, okay, with this one right here, it's a really thin crescent moon, and it's also not a different temperature in here. So I thought, I don't want to obscure that too much. So I'm going to do something where I flank this moon. So I'm really taking advantage of this really dramatic background paper, and I'm kind of doubling it here. But we want to use that in a, whatever, a scenic stamping situation here. So I might put some things, objects out here to flank it. I'm going to put this island tree type of thing. And then those will be reflecting down in this lower area. Hello, Candy. How are you? That sounds great, Candy. Hope everything kind of is coming along nicely with the health adjustments. I would say that whatever those might be, I always thought whoever has kind of health issues, if they're a rubber stamper or, just card maker, crafter, that kind of bodes well because it gives people something to look forward to. And I don't know, it's just good, kind of therapy from a emotional but also physical therapy side. But look forward to seeing what you do. All right, I'm going to use a Brilliance pigment ink on this paper. Something nice and thick. VersaFine Clear would be good. Hybrid inks, whatever. Okay, now let's see right here. Let's go... I'm going to go about like so. I'm going to have this image go below this horizon. So I'm stamping off a little bit, okay? Because I don't want to have this kind of floating up here above this. This is going to represent my horizon line in here. So I want this planted kind of into it as opposed to kind of hovering over that edge right there. So hopefully I stamped it low enough here. I'm kind of aiming roughly for the that lower edge. I'm going to give this a little bit of a few extra seconds for this ink, which is a thicker style of ink, to transfer and absorb into the surface a little bit. This is a matte paper that they have printed these background papers onto, okay? So they're really good in terms of taking and accepting media. But these are printer inks on here, so it is sealing off the surface a little bit, you know, to some extent. They're still absorbent, but you really want that ink. You want to give it time to transfer and start absorbing through these printed inks on this paper here. So you get a nice print like that. Dye-based inks are the only ones that I think probably, or I don't know, I haven't really, if I've used it, I don't remember, okay? But I just know that dye-based inks are really thin, and they might penetrate better. I don't know, I need to do some tests on that, but they might penetrate well, but dye-based inks work by staining a surface, okay? Pigment inks are more surface oriented, okay? So more of that ink stays up top as opposed to getting absorbed in. The more inks absorb in, the less, in this case, dark and black they're going to be. Because, you know, that the pigment is getting absorbed into the paper. And I want this one to be as to have as much contrast against this really dark background as possible. So if this printed out in something like so this is like oh, I don't know, maybe like in the darkest areas, maybe like an 80% or something like that in terms of darkness on the darkness scale. So if I printed out something that was like, you know, 85, 90% gray instead, then there wouldn't be as much contrast in here. So just go with your kind of thicker surface-oriented inks, you know, your pigment inks, or like a StazOn, maybe, I'm not sure. Hybrid inks are pretty good because they have a portion of them are pigment. They're a pigment dye kind of combination, however they do that, I don't know. All right, so we have these two right here. If you want to get kind of an idea of what that'll look like, we have that like so. And we'll be adding in some extra shading in here, but we don't have to do too much right down here because it's reflected in that reflection area, so it makes for some really fast types of cards. And we don't have, you know, like a temperature change in here. There might be a slight warmth to that bottom area. I'm not sure, but we can add that in with colored pencils if we want to. But I am going to add in some objects down in this lower area. I was thinking about this horse that's in the water like this. So he'll be faced the other way, but you can kind of see where it'll go like this. It'll be this way. And then I want some extra little foreground right around in here. And we might use some of those modeler's leaves in there too. And I think because there's some little stars up here, I thought we can add in some of the clear crystals, and that might be interesting. Hello, Cynthia, Debbie, and Bonnie. Good to see you all. All right. Isn't that fun? With these reflection cards, you can be like, you can just stamp like something like that out and almost be done with it and have a pretty dramatic type of visual statement. This would be a good area up here if we want to stamp out or even emboss like a word stamp in white. I don't think I'll do that here, but that would be an interesting area to put it in. Okay, so this is interesting right here, these white little stars from the background that were just in the paper are showing up right there. We can even make little fireflies out of those too. I hadn't really thought about that. We could. Okay, so let's stamp out that foreground in here. On the foil, you want to go with the StazOn. I used to use Brilliance down here, and I would add in like a little bit of vignetting and stuff like that, which you can't do with StazOn because it just dries too fast. I think, I don't know, has anyone experimented with that? Maybe someone did, but I don't know, I was really surprised that anyone was able to get any kind of blending at all with StazOn just because it dries so fast. Okay, this one right here, so the StazOn, let me think. Yeah, I think I want to lift a little bit sooner because sometimes I think when I've held this down for too long, it's like the opposite of the this upper area with the pigment inks on matte. With this one right here, I think before if I held this down too long, it was drying. The StazOn dries so fast that I think I lifted off and it was like dried on the stamp or something, or it lifted off some of the impressions. So on this one, just go with your standard kind of impression time. All right, so I'm changing kind of the amount stamp from this side. This one's a little bit heavier. This is a little bit lighter because, a lot of the visual weight right now is on the left-hand side. So I just did a little bit of a heavier application of this tree. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but that's why I did it, though. You go a little bit bigger over here just to counterbalance this left side weight here. So you put like more things out here. You can even do like a tree limb over here. I'm not going to do that because this is a reflection card, but you could do something like that. Okay, and then also the horse is going to be in here, so a little bit heavier right here. Maybe you can even do like another bit right here if you want to. But anyways, these trees right here, these foreground ones right here in the left and right corner, kind of help to obscure this line right here, this kind of wedge right here, these where this doesn't reflect down in this area because it's going vertical like this. You have these flares right here, so you have this triangular edge like from here over like that little bit right there. Okay. And I like to obscure that a little bit with that lower left and right corner imagery. Okay, I'm not trying to fill it up completely, but it just stamps something over it. And plus you get a little bit of extra foreground. Okay, let's see this right here. I'm looking at this horse right now, and see, I don't want to... I have plenty of room right here, but if I stamp that right here, that's going to be a little bit big for that space. I don't want to cover up that moon completely. Luckily, I have this other horse here. It's a little bit smaller. It's facing the other way, though. So let's see if that's going to work out. No, I like that horse facing that way. Let's switch back. I know what I'm going to do. What I'll do is, okay, see this right here? If I stamp it up there, that won't look too bad. What I'll do is I just want to stamp this a little bit lower, I think, like right in here, okay? But that's going to go right over this. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of wipe off some of this ink right here so that it stamps out a little bit lighter and it won't obscure that bushier area. I mean, it's okay if it does. I just don't want that bush going up into this horse up here. But I want the silhouette of that bush, I don't want just to have this area of like solid black right there. So we'll just, we'll vary it a little bit. Let's just do that right now while we're talking about it. Or I'm talking about it. I'm blabbing on when I do these videos because I'm thinking about it at the time and I'm kind of pondering sometimes if it's going to work. Or I'm kind of talking myself through it, so that's, I don't know. If I wasn't doing this in a live stream, that's what I'd be going through in my head. All right, so let's see, I gotta do this really fast here. So let's kind of wipe some of this off. Let's kind of transition it a little bit. So my reflection isn't going to be quite as strong, because I've wiped off a lot of the ink there. Okay, let's see. And, okay, let's go about like so. Hopefully I didn't wait too long before I made the impression. Okay, this is another thing that I kind of forgot about, is solid silhouette types of imagery like that. You can see where it didn't stamp out too dark like that, but you can see like this. See, it transitions right there into the shadows, and then it doesn't obscure that, so it's going from a little bit darker right up here to lighter right here. But what you do in this area like that is you can take a Q-tip, dab it into this, and go into that form right there. But I see this solvent ink is, it's basically like permanent ink, so I just take a Sharpie pen and I just fill it in like that. There's a lot of internal discussion going on with ourselves when we stamp, huh, Bonnie? Internal dialogue. Yeah, it's like Sharpie coloring. Oops. Okay. So we have that right there. It's pretty solid. I left like some of the very, little areas up top, so a little bit lighter. I don't know if you can tell right here, but it's a little bit lighter around the top edge of that horse like that. But now it should be solid enough like so. Okay. About like that. That horse almost looks a little three-dimensional to me. All right. Let's see. Let me look at this. Okay, so down here, I'm going to get a little bit of texturing in here, especially when you have something in the water like that. I like to add in some texture down here just to reiterate that this area in here isn't like 5 feet deep or something like that. It's in the shallows, so in the shallows, you should be able to see some of the bottom, whatever base that they're standing in, okay? I guess you wouldn't see it so much if it was like just pure sand or something like that. It's not going to be like texturized. But we'll go with the tiny rock small and add some of this right in here. I'll go for a little bit of a darker impressions down at this lower area, and then I'll go with some lighter ones around our whatever lower area focal point, I guess. Okay, now also at the base of these more distant objects, what we'll do is we'll add in some of this texturing right around there. I'm stamping kind of part of the rock off the page, just to kind of create a nice transition between those objects and the water's edge, whatever. I don't know, that's not really I guess that's a shoreline, but okay, so this is what this looks like. Let me see if I can get the angle so you can see it in there. You can see where these rocks are down here. It's a little bit darker here, and there's lighter impressions right through here. Let me see if I can get okay, there. Well, there you can kind of see it. You can see my camera in there. There it is. There's a little bit of scratch down this. I think I could buff that out, but there's those rocks right up there. And then, I'll take a look at that. See that transition right in there into that water line? Now, with those extra rocks right up there, it looks like that. So they kind of, and look at these rocks down here too. I think it creates a foundation for that horse now that's much stronger than it was without that. And this area down here, because we're not doing a bunch of like toning and variation down here, we're reliant on what's going on up here. But if we want to get that extra texturing that looks like it's, whatever, in front of those reflections, that's where these rocks come in. So it takes care of our kind of like tonal transitions in there, which I always like to do anyways, you know, in the four corners, but you can't really do that on this type of silver cardstock very well. I guess if you had like a spray paint, you could. All right. Hello, 907 Crafty Life. That's a cool YouTube name. So anyways, 907, if you've, thanks for joining in here and checking it out. Just a little bit of background on this one. This is a quarter page card base here. So half page folded in half. Silver cardstock, you want to go with a mirrored one. There's some silver cardstocks that are more like brushed aluminum, but in scenic stamping, you get the benefit of whatever you do in this top portion doubled down there just instantly, you know, without really having to do anything. I'm doing this on one of the background papers as well, so it's really fun stuff. You know, anything you add up here, like here's this one right here, you know, background paper, I'd stamp on it, you know. I don't know about this way. It's kind of interesting, but you know, just fun stuff and kind of a fun, easy type of whatever three-dimensional illusion, just instantaneously. You know, you get that three-dimensional type of effect without really having to do anything. You know, like a three-dimensional type of process. That's what I always say. You get the benefit of like this kind of like a little mini diorama type of look, pop-up almost card, you know, and you're just taking advantage of just the card base that's inherently, you know, I don't know, whatever, three-dimensional in that fold. Okay, this is just a colored pencil, black colored pencil. You don't really need to do this, you know, if you want to just make like a really fast card, you can probably crank this out in, you know, like 10 minutes or something like that. You know, after the, you know, the paper's cut out and everything like that. But what I'm doing right here is I'm just using this black colored pencil just to create a little bit more of a variation from here. I like to go with the darker tones right here and have it a little bit lighter up here. Now this is already on some dark paper, so this is just kind of creating a little bit more of a, whatever, a lighting transition right here. So I'll go with a darker tone right down here, and then I use a little bit less as I move up here. And we won't have to do too much because this is already, you know, like I said, it's already dark in there. So I'm kind of just darkening it in by maybe, I don't know, an extra 10% or something like that. So you can see this right here. It's a little bit darker right here, and it transitions up into the lightness, and it's doing the same in the reflection area. So I just colored in, I don't know, just a little bit, and that gets doubled. So, all right, let's see here. Let's do something on these little tree trunks here. This is like one of those little types of details here. This is a really thin kind of tree trunk area right here, but see this one right here? I'm just going to do a little bit of shading with my colored pencil on one side of that tree trunk, and we'll do the same on the other ones. It's really narrow, but colored pencils you can get pretty narrow in here. And I've kind of darkened in the right side of those trunks, just, you know, just a little bit, so that they are now kind of a little bit more left side illuminated. And then we'll reiterate that with our pastel pencil maybe, and our acrylic paint pen. But like I said, I mean, you could be done with this already, and I think it looks really fun. Now that we have this moonlight right here, this is a pastel pencil. You might try, I don't know, you know, white colored pencil may or may not work on here. You can try that. I find the pastel pencil on this matte cardstock works really nicely. It transfers the ink really well. Yeah, glad you like that 3D look. This, these reflection cards aren't just for, they don't have to be just for scenic stamping either. They can just be some kind of fun thing. I mean, fun just to kind of, like if you had some kind of like big word stamp right here that said happy birthday or something like that, it'd be kind of interesting to stamp it right down here. Someone opens it up and it's like mirrored down there. It could, it could be like poolside or something. This would be a pool, or could this be, if you had like a, like some kind of thing in here, you can have like on a white, I'm talking about like a white piece of paper or something like that. Merry Christmas or something like that. And this could be like ice, if you had like little ice skaters or something down in this area. I think that'd be really cool. I guess that'd be kind of like scenic stamping, or, a little bit, but maybe, minimally. But just having something kind of dynamic like that. And when someone opens up the inside of a card too, you get this light kind of coming out at them. It's kind of like a whimsical kind of experience, having kind of this illumination coming out of the card without, something like, I don't know, like LEDs or something like that in there. Okay, so on the sides of these trees, facing that moonlight a little bit, and on the ground here, there's some rocks in here. If you add too much of this, you can just kind of wipe it off. But this is like a soft illumination because pastels are really soft. And then we'll do some crisp illuminations with our acrylic paint pen. So we're going light back into dark. You can see how that looks right there. And then when you do that, you can see how those reflections on those rocks kind of illuminate this darker area of our silver cardstock by having those reflections, those light reflections I'm talking about, appear in this area down below like so. And like I said, sometimes it's like, I've added too much of it, so I just kind of wipe it off, or you can take an eraser and just erase that pastel pencil, it'll come right off. Or if you apply white into this area in a kind of a non-removable type of medium, whatever that might be. It might be white pigment ink or something like that, or white acrylic paint. If you don't like it, just darken it in with go back to your black colored pencil and just kind of darken it in right over the top of it. So you can always adjust. So it's not like a matter of, like a point of no return with any of these types of effects here. So you can play around and see if you like it. If you don't like it, you just kind of go right over the top of it. We'll just layer it with another darker tone. All right, so we have that right in there. I'll spray seal that because it is acrylic paint. I mean, not acrylic paint, it's pastel. I'm going with the acrylic paint right now. So that's soft illumination in there. It's not really super light. Okay. And we'll go in here and we'll add in some crisp highlights. I do it in the form of some little dots like that. If it's in a lighter area, kind of stipple it a little bit like that to get a little bit more illumination. Sorry, I can't zoom in closer, otherwise my camera goes out of focus. But if there's a little bit more lighting, I add a little bit more. If it's kind of a darker area, like I illuminated a little bit down here, it might just be like a little dot, like one dot of paint, okay? I add a little bit more of that illumination closer to my moon, or whatever your light source is. Like that, so it's a little bit lighter right around in here, closer to that. And so it just kind of reiterates whatever light strength and light direction. Like that. Okay. And let's see. Oh, so let's go back to those tree trunks right here. And we soft illuminated them. Okay. With the pastel pencil. Now I'm going on the edge right here. The left side edge. Now, there's a tiny bit of that trunk right there, but it's so little I'm not going to do it. But if I had more of the trunks on to the left of the moon, I would right side illuminate those ones, okay? So you see those trees that kind of stand out a little bit more like this. They stand out more, and I guess it's kind of a subtle way because these are just like tiny little dots right in there. But because this is kind of a darker background too, see how much those really kind of stand out down here now? So you get more of that reflective quality in here. I think it looked good without it, but see, it was kind of like darker black and with that blue showing through those trunks. But now see this area right in here looks a little bit more varied, you know, and when you do something like this, you get this darker foreground foliage right here. It just shows up a little bit more, you know, with something a little bit lighter in the background like that. All right, now let's go in and let's go back with some additional soft lighting. We'll go back with our white. Well, no, we didn't use this yet. We're adding in. I'm so used to using white pigment ink as a foundation layer. But we'll add this in now. Okay, so we have this soft light of this moonlight from the background. And let's bring in some of this additional soft lighting. With this, I guess you can kind of do it with a pastel pencil again, but I think this is going to be a softer application here. So don't apply like a large blob of this ink. My pad is kind of like a drier, medium dry right here. So it is kind of very like dry brush amount of application are being applied with each little tap here. Okay, so we're doing this like so. So it's like a little bit of this rock outcropping kind of enveloped in this kind of misty light fog here, translucent fog, I guess. I'm sacrificing some of my darker tone that I added down there in terms of shading, but I usually do that anyway, because I like this kind of to, this effect to kind of, whatever, complement soft shadows or something like this. Is soft illumination in here, so we get the shadows right around here and the illumination over here, so we get this transition going from dark to light like that. And I'm gonna put a little, I put a little bit right there, but I'm gonna do it more right over here just so that this one looks a little bit different than this side. You know, not a huge amount, but again, it's just for a little bit of variation. And both ways would look fine too. These are just little kind of tweaks that I'm kind of experimenting with, so you get that little bit of illumination like that. One thing I should note about reflection cards is that this is silver and reflective, so this kind of alone might look a certain lightness, but now you go like this and you have light hitting this, but you also have the light hitting this and reflecting back up in here. So sometimes if you're just working on this top area and adding in things like highlights and shadows and things like that and getting it to where you want it to be, and then you go like this and it's like, okay, that looks a little bit different. It's because this light is kind of reflecting back up in here. There's not a huge amount of light in this one because this is dark and it's reflecting dark in here. But in lighter ones, you get a little of that light reflection. Or if you're using gold down here, it's reflecting warm kind of golden light up there too. So adjust accordingly. So, you know, hold up like this and take a look at it and just see how things are looking, you know. And if you need to add more lighting or shade in there, then you can kind of make those adjustments like that. All right, so I'm deciding here what I want to do. Let's do that thing. So I mentioned this paper in here is already really dynamic with, you know, the moon in here. It's a big, huge moon, and moons are really dramatic like that, or any type of light source in the skies when it comes to scenes or anything. So What I'm going to do though on this matte type of paper, let's add a little bit of extra kind of texturing up top here. And let's do it with some of these clear crystals. I think we can get a little twinkly type of thing in here going on. Here's the Milky Way right in here. There's this little strip of stars that she had in back of this moon. So we'll stay with that kind of whatever star direction in here. Oh, the Christmas cards, that'd be cool, Candy. You know, I've always thought that doing these reflections, I haven't done it, you know, and I can't remember if I've stamped in silver on areas and used it as a reflection card, but I think silver or white reversed out imagery, you know, light it over dark, and then reflected in that area down below it looked pretty cool. You can do all kinds of things though, can't you know, with like glitters and things like that for Christmas cards too. Okay, so adding in crafter's glue, standard crafter's glue. Let's get a couple little stars in between that area right in there. Let's see. Let's put one like right in here. I might be putting too many drops right here, but I'll try to work fast. Too many drops, you know, to utilize before the last ones dry. So again, just clear crystals. Those would make it for a dramatic, I think, Christmas card though, too. It's especially fun too if people haven't seen, you know, like or received a reflection card before. Okay, that's not a dollop of glue. That's one of that's one of, that dot right in there was one of Deanna's stars there. Deanna's the one that made these background papers. But they make for some really fun and fast like three-dimensional effect types of projects here. Let's see. Okay, I used all those ones. Let's go with the smaller size. I need to get another set of these crystals, but just in the smallest size right here. The smallest sizes are the ones that I use the most. Sometimes I like them to be somewhat what's the word? Not obscure, but you know, it's just more of like a fine little detail. So having that little kind of twinkly bit in scenes is fun to add in there because it's not that apparent. The larger you go on this one, you know, the bigger, you know, kind of the more it shows up. But sometimes I want those little things to be like just, you know what I mean, just a little bit. So a little bit twinkly. So anyways, here we have that. That's not balanced, is it? Let me see. Let's go with another couple down here. Here, I'll go like that. Let me see. We need one like right in here too, I think. I think one of my stars flipped upside down here. I need to put it right side up. There we go. Here's my technique. The hardest thing is getting these little tiny crystals kind of right side up. So you just kind of, I just pour out a few and it's like 50-50 right side up and upside down. Then just when I'm done, I just take them on my finger like that and put them back in, you know, the packaging right there like that. Did I? I forgot about that one. All right, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, there we go, like something like that. See that right here, like about like so. Okay, so we get that little twinkle up there. Now these stars are really standing out, but remember, in my like studio right here, my desk, there's like 12 like fluorescent lights shining on here, okay? You know, normal, I don't know, whatever, everyday lighting or something like that, that someone would be viewing this and those ones won't stand out that much, okay? So I'm kind of compensating a little bit by putting a few more in there. But see that little like, tiny one like that? That's what that will kind of look like. So like this, those really stand out, but they don't stand out that much in, like I said, standard lighting like that. But look at that illumination like that. It's like coming through from the background like that in there. All right, let me test something out too here. I wanted to see, now this is, if I had some like blue crafters leaves, dried leaves, I would put those in here, but I was just kind of curious to see if these leaves would kind of look okay in here. Let me just place a couple of these down. These are the leaves that like model railroad and, you know, kind of enthusiasts use on their layouts, their whatever, their tracks, their scenarios. Okay, let me see if this will look okay. I might not add these in here. I just want to check right here. Okay, so I use the green just because that won't be quite as like... Okay, I can't tilt this up too much because... yeah, because of that, it falls right in there. Let me see. Yeah, okay, I don't like these leaves. All right, if these ones were like blue or something like that in a tone from the sky, I think it'd look pretty cool. Or if I added in like somehow some green up there, then it would make sense right in there. But we'll go sans leaves on this one. And I think that should do it right here. All right. Can't think of anything else I want to add to this. I think now that I've added these stars in here, I thought about adding in some like little glowing little fireflies or something like that around in here. But I think there's enough kind of texturing in here and visual kind of excitement that anything else might be kind of cluttering it a little bit. But as I always say, you know, if you don't know, go overboard and clutter away a little bit, just so that you know for the future how far you should go with something. And if some process is fun anyway, then go ahead and do it. Don't be gun shy in terms of applications. Okay, so this top scene will be glued into place. And, oh, by the way, so when you do these two pieces like this, see this right here? Inevitably, it's not the same size. See like this right here? So you get this glued into place, and then I just trim off with my paper trimmer these edges like that so that it's nice and flush. And then out here, you know, I mean, you can put another card on here. It could be light, or you know, you could have done it on white if you wanted to, or any other color of paper. This would be cool for like some kind of like a quote stamp or something like that. You could splatter paint it, you know, with some stars or something like that. That might be kind of interesting as a visual lead-in. Oh, not on that side. It would be like right up here on this side, like that. And this back side is where you write your note to whoever you're doing it to or something like that, you know. Happy Horse Day, love. All right, so anyways, a reasonably fast, kind of cool and dynamic reflection card here. Made a lot faster by having the Deanna's cool moon background here. But I think the reflection cards are really good kind of format for her background papers, because these background papers are really, there's a lot going on in them oftentimes, and they're often very dramatic. So the thing that, brings the drama into that background paper, is the moon. So if you kind of reflect it, you're getting, you're getting the best part of it like twice, without having to do it twice. It's just reflecting. So it makes for a really quick and easy kind of a solution or application for something like that. So that being said, if you guys ever do like really cool backgrounds or anything like that, you're doing watercolor effects, or you got whatever, alcohol ink, kind of those, those cool washy backgrounds, or oxides and all that type of thing, you can double the effect without using so much media too, just by reflecting it into an area down below. So I don't know. There's different types of reasons why I think reflection cards are really cool and fun to do. Not to mention they're nice and dramatic like that, by having this area kind of look so three-dimensional. Like I said, interior light kind of reflecting back at someone when they're opening up something. It's like the magical case or something like that. They're opening up something like this, and you have this light kind of coming down there. Look, and see these look at those little stars too. They're twinkling as you open it up, so they're kind of twinkling, and so there's a little bit of movement in there, and plus there's movement in this lower area like that. You get that, okay, I forgot that word, but where something is closer to us, and there's there's less movement in the distance. Where's Laura? Laura's a astronomer. There's that whole thing about kind of judging distance in stars. But there's that whole thing going on in there too. So pop out your reflection cards. A lot of you have those kind of like silver and gold cardstock in your supplies. That sometimes it's been sitting around and you maybe haven't used, or you just used it for matting or something like that before. So reflect into it. I don't know what the smallest sizes are, Bonnie. I'll put a link to it. I'll when I format the video, I'll put a link to it. But this one right here, I don't know if this I don't think this coincides with anything, but it says like there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. But it's just going from larger to smaller like that. So I don't know. In the description of the product, though, it's probably noted what sizes they are. I think these three look like the same size, though. And then this one's like the smallest, and there's like one of them, probably because they were so small, they probably fit double the amount in there. So anyways, as you can see, I don't use these large ones too often, but I'll have to do like a gem cave or something like that sometime and put like these really big crystals in there, I think, and get them used up. And I should do like an 11 by 17 sometime of like a cave, just to get rid of some of these really huge ones in here. Be like a diamond mine. Anyway, this one's pretty evocative. I'll have to think of a good name for this card. Anyone have a good name in mind for this card? I think I just put like, what I put in the title of this video. It's like Crescent Moon and something. Crescent Moon Reflection? I don't know. It's a little bit boring. We'll have a subtitle for it. If you come up with anything, write it in the comment section below. Diamond dots would work. What's diamond dots? That sounds interesting. Sounds like something I'd want. That's a product there, Bonnie? You need a leaf punch or can color. Oh, yeah. They do have those leaf punches, right? I remember when I started using this, someone posted some things where they used like a tiny leaf punch, right? I don't want like a big one, but like a tiny one. Glad you like it, Crafty Life. Blue Moon. I think I've used that one a few times, Debbie. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, there's like thousands of videos now, and I think I've named certain things. There's probably, I don't know, some titles that kind of just pop up in my head, but it's like, I know I've used that before. And I think I would have used Blue Moon. I don't, maybe not just Blue Moon, but something Blue Moon or something like that. But that'd be a good one. Yeah. All right. Yeah, but yeah, that's a great idea with the leaf punch though, because then you can stamp it out, yeah, of any colors you want. So what I'd want to do is I'd want to find some color like these right here, the lightest ones right in here, and then lay it down right in here, or like a leaf color that would be just a little bit lighter than this color right here that's being reflected down here. So it'd be like nice and subtle, you know, which I think would be a perfect application for, you know, like floating leaves in there. And the floating leaves, it would add to that whole kind of three-dimensional look down here too. You know, we have these kind of these rock textures down here in front of the reflections down here. But yeah, those, I love those leaves reflecting down in that lower area. Let me see something right here. Yeah, so okay, so I've shown this, you know, a gazillion times before. We added these leaves into this reflection card right here, all the green ones for this green colored scenario. So it just looks so much more three-dimensional looking with those leaves in there like that. So again, green did kind of harmonize with the color, you know, colors up top there like that. So I don't know, we need a lot more colors, you know, with the stuff that we're with the color schemes that we use in stamping. So, you know, they probably just go for more of those kind of realistic color schemes in the model railroad community, because I don't know if they're doing like a nighttime type of you know, train set, you know what I mean, train track scenario landscape or something like that. So anyway, I love reflection cards, and after I get done with them, I probably stare at them a lot more than I do with my other finished scenes, because they're, you know, they're, I don't know, there's that extra dimension to them and everything like that. And I like playing around with that like that. I think if you give cards like this to people too, I think they're going to do this type of thing with it, or, you know, just kind of moving it around like that. It's like a, I don't know, it encourages that kind of further inspection with it. And they're just so much fun. I love that whole kind of diorama looking type of scenario too. It's like a little hidden kind of whatever those things are. Those things where you look through something and into some kind of thing, and there's like this whole little landscape in them. I forgot what those things are called, but I don't know. It's not that, but it gives me the feeling of that just because it is so dimensional looking. Let's see. Leaf punch on it. Oh, God, I gotta take a look at that. Does it have different sizes of leaves though, too, Bonnie, or is it like one size there? Whatever I saw from people, I really liked it. It was a good size of a leaf punch. I'll take a look on Amazon. I'll just type leaf punch and see what we have in there. Horse grazing on the moon. That horse is like eating, it's eating cheese. Glad you liked it, Cynthia. All right, folks. Quick card here. Quick and fun. And I think I found a really great use for that, for Deanna's moon there. Deanna's the one that gave me the idea for this one, too. I thought I had that gigantic moon in there. And I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it, because I don't want to cover things up again. So, you know, the reflection card just kind of like, oh, that was like, you know, whatever the idea sparked just with seeing her post the other day on the Facebook group. So, yeah, I don't know. So I have another one right here. I just found that, but I'll have to figure out something with this, you know. And again, you know, it makes for a pretty cool type of scenario like that. See, like this, if you just put this up here, It looks kind of interesting, but you want something like in these areas right here just to differentiate whatever sky from surface like that. But this will make, I'll do another reflection card, I think, using this one right here. And this one will be kind of cool though, because it's so dark up there like that. So that it'll create that same kind of transition area right down in this area like that. You can do another like horse against that moon over here or something like that. Maybe the smaller one. All right. I look forward to that. And yeah, just so much fun. So, fun with reflections. Thanks for watching and checking it out. 4 different sizes, all mini. Perfect, perfect. We can even punch out, you can even punch out so the metallics out of that too. So this is like silver right here, right? And then it'd be kind of interesting to do kind of metallics right in here too, maybe. Maybe you do metallic leaves if you do some kind of metallic top portion up there. So it's like foil reflecting into foil, but then you have these foil leaves down there. Wouldn't that be cool? And the foil leaves would be kind of reflective too. So, it opens up some possibilities. There's too many experiments and ideas to out there. Not really, but that's a good thing, right? All right, folks, have a great rest of evening. And thanks again for checking out this card creation here. So much fun. Thanks to Deanna for her really cool background papers that make our lives really easy when we want a fast card. All right. Hope to see you in the next live.